Hi, I'm Heather Rodriguez, and today let's talk about estrogen dominance and some steps you can take to help with that. So, estrogen dominance is something that happens a lot during a woman's fertility journey because there happens to be too much estrogen in the system, and we're going to talk about why that's happening in just a second. But basically, that can show up such as PCOS, endometriosis, uterine fibroids, ovarian cysts. Anytime there's some type of fertility issue where there is excessive growth or there's something growing that shouldn't be there, such as endometrial tissues growing in places they shouldn't, estrogen stimulates that. Or in the case of uterine fibroids, the growth of the fibroids is stimulated by excess estrogen. So first you've determined that yes, you have some type of high estrogenic situation going on. Oh, another note is you can also tell by your period if you have a very high heavy flow, very dark blood, there's a possibility that there could be estrogen dominance there, or to work on estrogen and hormonal balance, because estrogen stimulates the growth of the uterine lining. So if you have a very thick uterine lining, you're gonna have a very heavy period. Okay, so let's jump into how this all works. So generally, some of the underlying causes of estrogen dominance happens to be xenohormones. We live in a world now that has a lot of chemicals, that has a lot of outside influences that actually act like hormones within our body. So xenohormones will fit in the receptor sites, our estrogen receptor sites, but their stimulating effect happens to be much stronger and much stronger than the estrogenic effects of our natural estrogen and those receptor sites in our body. So when you have a xenoestrogen stimulating that site, it's going to have a much stronger stimulating effect than our natural hormone or an estrogen, phytoestrogen hormone from a plant. So that's one of the reasons we actually want to work on reducing our exposure to xenohormones. So where do xenohormones come from, or xenoestrogens specifically come from? So one of the places, they come from a lot of different places that we are exposed to on a daily basis. So I'm going to jump into these, but just know all of these have alternatives, and they have really effective alternatives. So you don't stress out, you don't freak out. It's just a lifestyle change, and just kind of being aware of what your options are. So the first thing is there are a lot of chemicals in hair dyes and hair care products that can stimulate, that are xenoestrogens. So our skin happens to be one of the most absorbent organs in our body. So whatever we're putting on our skin can go into our body. Hair dye, so sorry, happens to be one of those things. So look for natural alternatives that are going to not have xenoestrogenic effects on your body. Henna is a fantastic option. I know the colors aren't as wide ranging, or look at some of these other areas and just really help to reduce your exposure to these xenohormones. Another area is going to be our skincare and our makeup. There are definitely compounds within skincare and makeup that can mimic estrogens within our body, and we're putting on our skin on a daily basis. These are things we're doing consistently and constantly. The good news is the natural skin and makeup care industry is rocking it. I remember 10 years ago, not so much, you know, they didn't have product that worked as well. Now we have product that performs just as good as all these other well-known brands. So it's very exciting. So looking at the ingredients, switching out for things that are made with more natural ingredients that don't have a lot of the ingredients that are going to mimic xenoestrogens. The next is going to be sunscreens. There are some sunscreens that are going to have compounds in them, again, so going for the natural, and BPA in plastics. So plastics, what I'm talking about are those crinkly plastics, or plastics that you might put into the microwave, anything that's kind of more of a soft plastic. Like this is a hard plastic. This is not going to leach as easily as that squishy water bottle that you're buying at the gas station, or Tupperware that you're microwaving your food in, and so on. So staying away from plastic as much as you can, using, you know, reusable water bottle, not microwaving your food in plastic, put it in an actual plate. Don't microwave things with saran wrap on top. Anything that's that really pliable plastic can leach very easily when heat is applied. Pesticides. There's so much that pesticides can do to negatively affect not only your fertility, but when you're pregnant, your offspring's fertility. So if you can eat as organic as possible, don't use herbicides, pesticides, insecticides on your yard. There's organic alternatives if you do need to address those things, but you don't want to be putting these compounds near your body on a daily basis. So that brings us to eating organic foods, and we'll go into more of that in the diet section. But that when you're eating animal foods, make sure you're eating organic, because they're eating corn or grains that were sprayed with pesticides that is now compounded, because they're eating and it gets stored in their fat. And then when you're drinking their milk or eating the meat, you are now consuming that. So just kind of be aware of it. So that's kind of a way that we're getting a lot of it. And I think that's one of the main areas that we're actually being exposed to is through the food. So eating as organic as possible, learning about the dirty dozen, because fruits and vegetables are sprayed with these compounds as well. And focusing on the ones that are sprayed if you have to budget and look at that. But it's so important, especially if you're experiencing a lot of these issues. And then one of the other areas is going to be feminine care products. So if you're using tampons or pads, a lot of that cotton, if they're not organic, have been sprayed with these herbicides and pesticides. And I know it's like, oh, am I supposed to live in a bubble? No, you don't have to live in a bubble. You just kind of pivot and make other choices. There's also things such as Diva cups. There's the reusable cloth pads. There's a lot of other options that you can try that are that you don't have to buy over and over again. They're an initial small investment, but that's another way to save money, but you're not exposing tissue that is very, very absorbent to these chemicals. Okay, so that's how to reduce your exposure to xenoestrogens. Now we're going to talk about some things that you can do to help your body to manage and to have healthy hormonal balance, but also help the body to get rid of these excess xenoestrogens. The first is phytoestrogenic herbs. Now I know this sounds counterintuitive and you're like, why would I use herbs that have an estrogenic effect in my body? So when you're using phytoestrogenic herbs, they have a very weak stimulating effect, but they're faster at taking up space in the receptor sites, the estrogen receptor sites in our body. And I'm simplifying all of this, but we need to understand it so we can take action, right? So when you're using these herbs such as red clover, alfalfa, dong quai, licorice root, dong quai is a little bit more specific, but red clover, alfalfa, and licorice root, those are ones that are kind of just generally very supportive of this. Dong quai stimulates blood production and iron and thickens the blood, so there's some of you who may not want to use that one. But when you're taking, like, say, just drink these in a simple tea, once a day, it's going to go and fill up that receptor site so that the xenoestrogens don't have a place to land and have their very strong stimulating effect, whereas these are going to have a weak stimulating effect. And yes, we want our own estrogen to take up space in the receptor sites, but if you are experiencing estrogen dominance already, this is some nice proactive steps to take. So those 3 herbs. The next is fertility cleansing. Fertility cleansing is a great way to help to support the liver's natural ability to get rid of toxins, to help the body to get rid of a lot of these things that we're exposed to. And this is something that the body naturally does, but we're just helping it along so it can do it more and it can do it quicker in a shorter period of time. Also, there are herbs in phase 2 of the fertility cleanse that help with overall hormonal balance and are going to contain some of these both phytoestrogen herbs and herbs that are going to help to support the endocrine system. The next is looking at diet. While eating a fertility diet is the basis of everything, it's a whole food diet that is low in or no processed foods, depending on where you're coming from with it. But making sure that you're eating enough fiber. When you're eating a whole food diet, you're gonna have plenty of fiber. But fiber helps the body to get rid of estrogen. That's one of its many functions, but that's one of the things it does. So making sure you're eating plenty of fiber. Fiber is going to be found in legumes, and legumes are another food that is phytoestrogenic. Again, it has that weak stimulating effect, but it's going to take up that receptor site. So making sure you're eating plenty of legumes and beans. Also flax seeds and sesame seeds are going to have that same effect as well. So making sure you have those in your diet regularly will definitely help. Another thing is to eat organic. We covered that because of the exposure to the pesticides sprayed on foods. And then the last is to just reduce any food and plastic contact with heat. Now we're going to jump to the herbs. So we talked about the phytoestrogenic herbs. Now there's an herb that I like to use to help to support the endocrine system and help to balance hormones overall, and it's going to be maca. Maca is a very gentle tonic herb that helps to support the endocrine system. It does not contain herbs itself or hormones itself, so that's why I like to use it in these types of situations, so we can just give that endocrine system some support. So maca. Maca we have capsules, powder, and tincture. So a lot of options on how you can use it. I like to have all those different types around so I can have a choice of how I'm going to use the maca on a daily basis. And then the last is one of my favorite supplements to use to help the body's natural ability to It promotes healthy estrogen metabolism, and it actually just makes it happen quicker within the body, and it's called DIM. So DIM is a natural compound that's found in cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, but it's in much higher amounts when you're taking it in a supplement. So it helps to increase the rate at what the body is getting rid of the bad estrogens and expelling those. So DIM, great product. We have, you need to take it with food, or you need to take it, we have a formula that includes black pepper that helps with the absorption and metabolism of the product. So either take it with food or make sure to use a product such as ours that has black pepper in it. So those are my tips on helping to overcome estrogen dominance. You will begin to see a difference in PMS. You'll begin to see a difference in your cycle. A lot of these different things will start to change for you. Maybe if you have endometriosis, you're not having as much pain or inflammation. You'll start to see some of these top symptoms that you're feeling, these top outcomes diminish, and that's how you begin to know that this is working for you. Also, your skin, if you're having acne, might clear up, different things like that, ovulation. It's just going to help overall hormonal balance. But there you go. Those are my tips for estrogen dominance and taking it step by step. Don't be overwhelmed. You can embrace this and make it a really fun lifestyle change. But these are all things that are going to help overall hormonal balance beyond estrogen dominance, but just trying to help with that particular situation. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you did. If you have any questions, ask them as well. And if you have ideas for future topics you'd like me to cover in these videos, put those in the comments. You can find out more information about natural fertility at my website, naturalfertilityinfo.com, and you can purchase our products at naturalfertilityshop.com. Also, on my website at naturalfertilityinfo.com, you can sign up for my free Fertility Foundations course. This is a course that's great for any woman that is on her fertility journey to help lay a healthy foundation as it comes to diet, herbs, supplements, and to get started. So you can go ahead and sign up for that there so we can get you going. And I hope you have a great day and found this helpful. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.